What's going on, my dudes? Chensley11 here, and welcome back to another episode in the A to Z series. In this episode, we're going to be showing you how to play Kindred Jungle for beginners. So I hope you enjoy. And if you are new to the series, what we do is we are going through every single champion in alphabetical order and giving you a basic or beginner's guide on each of them, where we go through the runes, the build, and most importantly, the abilities, so that you can carry your games when you go and give them ultimately a go. So what we are going to do quickly before we get into the runes and whatnot, just want to mention we did a little bit of a cheeky invade in this game, which ended up working out okay, but we're going to go through the game as if we didn't invade anyway, and you'll see here, I believe we end up getting first blood here after a nice hook from Thresh. And then we're just going to reset and grab the extra longsword. So if this ever happens to you, I forgot to get the refittable potion, so it ended up being fantastic, otherwise we would have been screwed anyway. But we end up getting a longsword, which just helps our clear a little bit, but it's not going to be too much different than normal. So keep that in mind. But what I've been doing recently in my videos is just quickly going through very briefly the abilities, so that if you're very new to Kindred, you have a rough idea of what her abilities do. So Q is like a dash that follows up with 3 arrows that go off that automatically target, and it gives you a little bit of attack speed. W, you place Wolf around in an area, and he'll go and bite targets. It also does other things, but we'll get to that in a moment. My team fantastically give me a nice leash here, which gives us, which gives our jungle clear a little bit of speed. Sorry about that. My phone's ringing. Very popular boy. And then the E, as we take red buff, the E puts a mark on someone, and then after a few stacks, the mark pops and does extra damage. Ultimate gives you like a ring of invulnerability where no one can die, including epic monsters and champions, okay? So we're going to have a quick chat about the clear when you play Kindred. So when you play Kindreds, you want to do a 4 camp clear, where you go buff, wolves, buff, Gromp. So you can see here we do a nice clear of the wolves, and we're going to go straight onto the blue buff. And what you can do when you're clearing blue, just a bit of a tips and tricks on Kindred, is you can Q over this wall here, because remember Q is a short dash, and then the blue buff can't hit you as much. So that's a quick introduction to the abilities. Now, bear in mind, we will go through them in much more detail as the video progresses. But just if you're very new, you can kind of understand what I'm doing, right, in the jungle. And then I always smite the Gromp as well, just to give you a health back. So for the Scuttle Crab fight, you're relatively healthy. Now, when you do this clear, you're going to be level 3, and you always have time for a gank before the Scuttle Crab spawn. So I tend to look top most of the time. I take Sweeper so we can get in invisible, and then nice engage on the Tahm Kench, and we're going to put Wolf down. Autos, we used our E, and then we're going to finish off with a Q. There it is. Beautiful. So 2 kills at the start. Fantastic early game. So, we're going to go through the runes first as we take the first Scuttle Crab, and notice that we get lucky on the mark as well, which is a passive. We'll go through that in a moment. So, the runes are Conqueror, Triumph, Legend Alacrity, Coup de Grace, and then you want to go Domination Secondary, where we go Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter. We're going to go Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and MR. You can also go Armor, depending on the game. You can see as soon as the Graves teleported, I went straight back in for another gank, simply because he's triggered, right? Look what we can do. We can absolutely poke him, and if we nearly killed him there, we take a lot of damage, but what we've done now is essentially shut down Graves' lane. Because he just teleported, he can't get back to lane, so this Tahm Kench is like a free lane almost, so beautiful. I think about just having a look to see if he's backing still, but he wasn't, so we get a little bit of damage on the tower. It's so early, though, before 5, that the tower has massive amounts of armor and magic resist, so there's no point even trying to get the plate. So we're going to back off, reset, and we're going to go bottom. All right, so we're going to have we're going to go through quickly the ability order. So you want to start W level 1. W level 1 just allows you to clear more healthy. The reason is your W slows the camps, and we'll go through that in a moment. But start W level 1 and just put it in the middle of the camp when you're clearing it, and then you want to take Q level 2, use your Q off cooldown. It's like a auto attack reset as well, damage. And then E as well, level 3. Again, use that as often as you can. Katarina knows she's dead here, so she's going to cop that. Then you want to max your Q. So you always level up your Q whenever there's a point available. In case you don't know what maxing means. Some people might not know what maxing means. You want to max your W second, then E last. And then obviously take a point in your ultimate whenever you can. And you can see here, Kindred, for me, is actually a fantastic... before we get into the build, just a quick little summary of Kindred and what I think. If you're an ADC player and you want to try the jungle, Kindred's perfect. And vice versa, if you're a jungler and you want to try ADC, play a bit of Kindred, because she's an ADC out of the jungle. So you learn these mechanics, the kiting mechanics. You see how I'm auto-attacking moving? This will actually help you in jungle clearing in general, even on melee champs, because it's a good habit to get into kiting camps. Number one, you get to where you want to go quicker. See, I was going to the Scuttle Crab after that camp, so I was already halfway there. Not halfway, but slightly there. And you also take less damage because they're chasing you. We're going to go for a quick gank on the Nautilus here. Again, when you're ganking, open up with your Q, E as well. Put your wolf down as well. That'll shorten the... So put your W down first, then Q. It'll shorten the cooldown of your Q. And then pop your E down whenever you can. And obviously follow in with all the auto attacks you can get. So we got a bit of time here. So just want to have a look inside the enemy jungle. We can see the Gragas. And we can 1v1 him because we have a level on him. The thing... And we know the mid lane is dead, right? So the only team that can collect is the bot lane. So this is slightly greedy. But ended up being okay. Wolf ended up munching him, biting him to get the Gragas there to get the kill. But you can see here we're a little bit outnumbered. Was a little bit greedy. The slows on the Twitch are fantastic. We end up getting out, but we cost Katarina her life. But it's all about us in this game. Kindred is a very high carry potential jungler. So if you can get yourself ahead, it's fantastic. All right, let's go through the build and the starting item. So for me, the starting item is Ember Knife, which is the red smite. Because you're going to be 1v1ing a lot, blue smite is better on assassins in my opinion. I just think red smite is always the go. You can take blue if you prefer blue for the slow. I love the dueling and the damage reduction you give with the red smite, and then refillable potion, which is the item that I forgot to grab. So luckily I had to go back. What I normally do if I didn't invade was I'd drop a ward around my blue buff, and then I'd back and get the sweeper, and then head to my red buff in this case and get the leash off my bot laner. Same. If you're starting the other side of the map, you'd start on your... you go wards your red buff, and then go start on your blue, and then do blue, Gromp, Wolves, red, and then try and gank mid or bot lane. And then try to grab the Scuttle Crabs whenever you can. In general, when you play jungle, they just give you a lot of XP. Vision is fantastic in the river, and also the nice bit of gold that you get there. All right, so that's the starting items. Now we're going to go through the items you want to go. So I normally go Kraken Slayer first. Fantastic item for dealing the true damage you get. Then I go Berserker Greaves. Failed the jump over the wall there. Ignore that. The Collector. And then I go Infinity Edge. You can also go Rapid Fire Cannon there. And then at some point pick up whichever item you didn't get, and then a GA. Yeah, and Kindred actually scales pretty hard because she's an ADC, right? So she does a lot of damage. You just need to play... You need to space well with her, right? Because she's quite squishy. But she has her ultimate that helps with that. You can see there we end up being a little bit greedy here against the Gragas. We're trying a 2v1 and we get absolutely collapsed because Graves used his ultimate. Graves is actually level 7 now. So a bit of misplay from myself. But we're limit testing, guys. I want to see how far we can push our lead. So that's the build. Let's start going through the abilities on Kindred in more detail, right? So we're going to go through all of Kindred's abilities now. And remember, guys, if you do enjoy these videos, hit the like button. They help my channel out a lot. Helps us with the YouTube algorithms. So, the passive. Now, Kindred's passive is relatively complex. It's called Mark of the Kindred. So before I even go into it, Kindred is actually two things, right? It's Lamb and Wolf. So you're controlling Lamb for the most part, and Wolf is basically your W when you put it down, which is the wolf running around biting these bloody rocks. Must have great teeth. So when I'm talking about Kindred, I might be using plural words when I'm talking about Kindred, right? So both Lamb and Wolf mark targets for hump. Scoring takedowns against these marked targets empowers Kindred's abilities and grants Lamb bonus attack range and on her basic attacks, right? So, but what that means is you see the portraits above my items. You can essentially select targets that you want to kill, and if you kill them, you get a mark. Now, these marks are critical to the way Kindred works. They give you bonus stats, essentially. So if you don't... I'll go through the specifics, but essentially they just give you bonus stats, and they make your abilities better. If you want to see how many marks you got at any one point, you can see we have 4 there. Just above our passive, you can see that 4 with the circle. So that's how many marks we have. If you look on the mini-map, you can see that there's a mark available. It's like the swirling pattern around... I can't use my mouse or anything to highlight it, but it's actually at the enemy's wolves. You can see that swirling rock. So if I was to kill that wolves, it would give us... Not our wolves, the enemy wolves on the top side of the map. It would give me another mark. Okay? Additionally, if you select an enemy champion and kill them, you end up getting an extra mark. Okay, so make sure there's always someone selected. I don't have anyone selected for some weird reason. I can't remember why I didn't, but that's a mistake on my part. But at the end of the day, the gameplay isn't the most important thing for these videos. It's there as like a bit of a background while we go through the champion, right, on a game that we played. So you can see so what you need to do is you need to select the target you want to go for and then try and kill them, right? So be careful. The mark takes a few seconds to activate before you can go kill them. And we'll go through that right now. So Lamb is offered a selection of enemies to take down in combat that hasn't been in combat with the last 6 seconds. Once selected, the mark is applied after 8-second delay and therefore can be collected by Kindred. Lamb gains the ability to select a new target every 75 seconds. So you can see I selected Gragas because I'm going to go try and kill him before he gets the dragon. Targets that are successfully hunted cannot be marked for them again for another 4 minutes. Okay, so the next part is... Actually, we'll just see what happens here with Nautilus. So I'm going to have to break this passive down into different segments on the actual screen because I like to show them off. There's the ultimate there as well. It's probably the only example of an ultimate that's okay in this game. It saved us, but we died anyway because we tried to be too greedy. So we're 3 and 2. I was trying to push... like be super aggressive and see if I can cancel the dragon. My team ended up cleaning up, so it's fine, but not the best. First time I played against the Vex this game as well, which is the new champion, so I had no idea what the hell she was doing. So the next part of the passive is, starting at 3 minutes 15, Wolf periodically marks a large monster within the enemy's team's jungle for 180 seconds. So this is that other mark I was telling you about that you can acquire from the enemy's jungle. So you can see right now it's on their Krugs, if you look at the minimap. And it's highlighted on both teams' minimaps. So the enemy team, if they're smart, will try and kill that before you can to deny you marks or stacks on your mark. And then the type of monsters that Wolf can target, I'll put a little graphic on the screen as well. But the first one is one of the two rift scuttlers, so the scuttle crabs. It's random, can be one of the other two. So we got lucky in this game where it was spawning on the one that we were at, so we could just go grab it, and we get a nice 370 gold for demolishing that tower. So we're getting nice and fat. Getting nice and Gragas-like. Alright, so we're going to go in here. Our mark is on Gragas. Not that I don't think it matters, because our team's going to clean up. Katarina going nuts. We use our sweeper to make sure we don't see any vision. And I think we're going to go in and just have a sniff and clap the Vex with a nice auto attack there. Get another kill. Alright, so that's the passive, guys. A little bit long-winded, but essentially there's these marks that you got to collect. You can get them off enemy champions if you select them, and they also spawn in the enemy jungle. Next, we're going to go through Kindred's Q. It's called Dance of Arrows. It's the first ability you max. You take this level 2, remember, W level 1. So it has an active portion. So when you activate it, Lamb does a little dash, gaining attack speed, right? Now, the attack speed is 25%, but it gives you an extra 5% for every stack. So right now we have 4 stacks, so I don't want to fail the maths, it's 20%. But it gives you an extra bonus attack speed, right? So a bonus extra 20, because we've got 4 stacks right now, for 4 seconds. So that you get extra attack speed for 4 seconds. Additionally, after dashing, Lamb fires 3 arrows that deal physical damage, and they target whichever minion you're autoing or target you're autoing at that point. If not, it'll just hit the closest targets. So you can see here, hit all 3 wolves when they just used it. Additionally, casting Wolf's Frenzy, which is the W, or using Dance of Arrows while inside its area will reduce its cooldown. Okay, so remember earlier I said make sure you put the W down first because it reduces Q's cooldown. So you can see here we have the wolf down, the big circle, and then that reduces the cooldown of your Q if you use it within that area. Lastly, Lamb can use or cast other abilities when using a Q, the dash, and you can also use this as an auto attack reset. So auto Q auto is 100% what you should be doing. Auto Q auto, that'll increase your damage because it'll clip your auto attack animation. If you don't know what that means, it just means you can do more damage. So make sure you auto attack, then Q, then auto attack. Beautifully. So again, great engage on the Tam Kench. and he's going to give us the kill there, knowing that we're the carry. So fantastic. It's nice to see some fantastic teammates there. Gives us the Ramos thumbs up. Thanks, mate. All right, that's the Q, guys. Very, very simple. A lot of your damage comes from your Q. Next, we're going to go through the W. It's called Wolf's Frenzy. So it has a passive and an active component. So as Kindred moves and attacks, they build up 100 stacks of Hunter's Vigor, and that full stacks Lamb's next basic attack heals her, and it scales with how much missing health you have. So this is just something to keep in the background. You can see it's just above our Q, the 100. That means our next auto attack will heal. Now the active component places that wolf down with the perimeter. So wolf dashes to a target location and claims the surrounding area for 8.5 seconds. Wolf automatically or autonomously attacks targets within the area, prioritizing Lamb's recently attacked targets. Wolf's basic attacks, so that when the wolf's biting things, it does magic damage, and this scales with 25% of Kindred's bonus attack speed. So basically, later on in the game, as you go, because you are building attack speed, essentially crit and attack speed, Wolf will deal more damage. And specifically, this is the main reason why you take it level 1, is when Wolf bites a jungle camp, it slows them, which allows you to kite easier and take less damage from the jungle camps. So yeah, and he does 15% increased damage on jungle camps as well. So make sure you use your W off cooldown in the jungle as well. Also, if you leave the W area, you see that little area on this map. As soon as I leave it, it ends the ability. So that's the W. The next ability we're going to go through is the E, which is called Mounting Dread. So it's an active. Basically, you place a mark on them. So basically, it's like a shot in the target enemy. You don't have to aim it or anything. You just put it on top of them, and then upon arrival, it marks them for 4 seconds, and then slows them by 50% for 1 second. And then Lamb's attacks on these marked targets refresh the mark's duration and apply a stack. Okay, it's stacking up to two times. Look at this, beautiful. Just double kill there, fantastic dive. We're just going to take a few auto attacks taking these minions. We're taxing the lane, but that's okay. So stacking it up to 2 times, her next basic attack against that target that are at 2 stacks makes Wolf pounce to them and bite them, consuming the marks, dealing extra physical damage on hit. And then the additional damage will critical strike targets below their maximum. So it does increase damage based on their maximum health. Okay, so it's good at hitting tanks, right? And that's basically it, right? So there's also other. I'll put it on the screen, looking at the specific numbers. But if you're just learning the Kindred, just know that you put the stack on them, and then after you attack them 3 times, it procs. Wolf will bite them and do a nice burst of physical damage. And that's basically it. So you usually want to put this on early when you're trying to trade, because then you can get those stacks stacking up quickly and do that burst of damage. You'll see it. The stacks are very obvious. It's on the ground. It surrounds the champion. And next time we get into a fight, you'll see it. Last but not least, we're going to go through Kindred's ultimate, which is called Lamb's Respite. So this ultimate is actually really... It's not hard to use. It's just you can mess this up, right? Because essentially you make it so the enemies cannot be killed, and that includes dragons. So the best thing to use when you get low, and then you can actually lower the enemy champion's damage, stack up your W, and then when it runs out, you auto attack him, proccing the W and killing them, bursting him really quickly. Also, you can use it to smite still, right? You smite you ultimate a dragon, the enemy cannot smite it, and then you smite it after your cooldown's done. So you basically waste their smite. But essentially, Lamb blesses the ground under herself for 4 seconds. All units inside cannot be reduced below 10% of their maximum health. As we dive the Vex, just wait for someone to take aggro, and then we just go auto attack them. Another fantastic dive for ourselves. So they can't be reduced to below 10% of their maximum health, and will become invulnerable for the remaining duration. They also cannot be healed. But they can still regenerate health, so that's just a passive regeneration. And then all targetable units within the zone are healed immediately when the blessing ends, okay? So I would have put examples up on the screen of all the abilities, so you can follow along and watch the abilities in action. But essentially, Kindred, I think, is a relatively easy champion to play. The ultimate is the only point of contention, making her relatively difficult. Here's that stacking animation on the Gromp. But it's a fantastic jungler to just get you in the habit of kiting, just playing that ADC style, the marksman style. I think she's really easy to gank with. Fantastic to just get in and out. She's very quick, nimble. Her Q, good at gap closing. The W for the slows, the E for the burst, and the ultimate for tower diving and keeping you safe in a fight that's close. Wasn't any good examples of my ultimate in this game. The enemy team surrendered. We were snowballing the shit out of this game. Anyway, the game is not important. But remember, guys, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. If I've missed something, please comment down below. But yeah, Kindred's a fantastic champion. I really, really enjoy her. I actually really enjoyed making this video. I found her very, very fun. And let me know what you guys think of Kindred. Just try to keep your stacks up when you play Kindred. It's actually easier the lower skill level players you're versing are, because they might understand the way it works. So just keep an eye out where the stacks are in the enemy jungle. If you feel like you can see the enemy jungle on the other side of the map, go into their jungle and try and steal that stack, and that way it helps you increase. So if you go through the graphics I put on screen, you will see what the stacks are doing. They're just increasing your attack range in the early game, or for the first part, and then they give you bonuses on your other abilities. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Hit the like button as well. And remember, at the end of the day, it is nighttime. Take it easy.